Have you ever heard of a dancing plague? Probably not. But between July and September of 1518, more than 400 people in Strasbourg, Alsace, were afflicted with it. They danced day and night, completely uncontrollably, until they literally danced themselves to death. This terrifying outbreak was one of the strangest episodes in human history. And even though it happened over 500 years ago, scientists are still baffled by it. What was the dancing plague, and how did it kill so many people? Let's find out. It all started when a 23-year-old woman named Trofia Calandrino began dancing erratically in the streets of Strasbourg. She would spin around in circles until she collapsed from exhaustion and had to be carried home by her friends. But the next day she would get up and do it all over again. At first, townspeople gathered to watch her dance, but as time went on, they became concerned for her health. After all, she was dancing nonstop and didn't seem to want to stop. But then something strange happened. More and more people started dancing too, and soon there were dozens upon dozens of dancers in the streets of Strasbourg. It was almost like some sort of strange mass hysteria. And although we don't know exactly what caused this outbreak, researchers have a few theories. One idea is that the dancing plague was the result of a botched exorcism. You see, in the 16th century, Strasbourg was a hotbed for witchcraft activity, and Trofina had been accused of being a witch just a few weeks before the dancing began, although she'd been cleared of the accusations. Perhaps the stress of the trial caused her to develop some sort of psychogenic illness that manifested itself in uncontrollable dancing. Whatever the case, the dancing quickly spread to others in the town. But what caused these people to join in on the dancing? Was it stress, religious fervor, or something else entirely? To understand what compelled them to dance, we need to look at the social context of 16th century Strasbourg. In the 1500s, life in Europe was hard, especially if you lived in a poor, densely populated city like Strasbourg. Disease was rampant and people lived in constant fear of starvation. The only thing that seemed to lift people's spirits was religion. And this was especially true after the Protestant Reformation, which began in 1517. The Reformation was started by a German monk named Martin Luther, who was critical of the Catholic Church and its practices. Luther believed that salvation could be achieved through faith alone, and that the Bible should be available to everyone in their own language. His ideas were radical and went against everything the Church had stood for in the previous 1500 years. And this caused great upheaval across Europe. Many people in Strasbourg were drawn to Luther's teachings. And it's possible that this religious fervor played a role in the dancing plague. Some historians believe that the dancing may have been a form of religious ecstasy, similar to the trance-like states that are sometimes seen in modern-day religious revivals. In fact, there are reports that some of the dancers in Strasbourg were actually trying to dance out demonic possession. Unfortunately, this didn't work and many of them died as a result. We don't know exactly how many people died during the dancing plague, but the numbers vary from about 400 to over 1,000. Most of them died from exhaustion and heart failure. But some actually died from injuries sustained while dancing, such as broken bones and ruptured blood vessels. Although the dancing plague ended in September of 1518, outbreaks continued to occur in other parts of Europe for several years afterwards. In 1519, a similar outbreak occurred in Italy, and in 1525, another outbreak occurred in France. These outbreaks were never quite as deadly as the one in Strasbourg, but they were still mysterious and terrifying. And even though the dancing plague is no longer with us, the mystery of what caused it still continues to baffle scientists. Was it a stress-induced illness, a religious phenomenon, or something else entirely? We may never know for sure. But one thing is certain: if you ever see someone dancing erratically in the street, don't join in, because it could be the last thing you ever do. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. With that said, see you next time.